How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ruffle Rowlett, and welcome to your daily Pokemon news and updates for Pokemon Legends Z-A. We're doing our little countdown every single day of video, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. Let's get started with the first things we have today, guys. We have a few different posts for a few different people. We also have some 4chan stuff to take a look at. Actually, quite a few 4chan posts to just dive through, as well as some theories. So if you guys are ready, let's get right into it. Starting things off, first of all, with this post from Mordecai's Pokemon on Twitter, who tweeted out saying, "I found a major hint that Pokemon Legends Z-A is set in the future." Now, some of you might be arguing, well, Legends was set in the past, and it's a legend, so it shouldn't. Not necessarily. It could be set in the future still. We don't know how Legends games are supposed to be until we have, let's say, 3 or 4 of them. Once you have multiple Legends games, then you can maybe argue a bit more like, oh, they're supposed to be only set in the past or only in this or that time frame, whatever. But I do think it's worthwhile to leave the possibility open that the game could be set in the future or in the past. We don't know. We need actual gameplay to confirm either way. So let's look at what he has to say here. Now, he says that it is set in the future. He says that Mobile City in Hoenn is Violet City in French. Violet equals future, and the MC underwent a redevelopment plan in Oras, featuring an indoor complex model after Lumio City and utilizing infinity energy as a new power source. Now, if you actually open up the post he has here, it is a lot, okay? He does have multiple other posts as well that we'll go through. Like, he has this giant mega post he made, which contains some of his other theories and stuff. But we're going to go through each of these one by one. So we're going to start with this one first and see what he's talking about. So, in reference to him, he's talking about, of course, Miraidon, which is the kind of Pokemon that's representing the future in Scarlet and Violet. Keep in mind, Scarlet and Violet itself was about the past and the future, but the game itself took place in the present. So the question then becomes, is Legends supposed to be the past game, and then Legends Z-A is supposed to be the future game? That's kind of the theory that's running around right now. And what he shows up here is Mobile City, which in French is named Violet City. The city's French name is Lavandia, which is the same as the German name of Lavender Town. Then he continues on and makes a connection between that as well as, like, you know, the actual thing you find in Mobile, which is like a mini version of Lumio's Tower. It can be found in there, at least like a similar representation to it. And then he kind of says here that in the Pokemon Omega we have Sapphire and Mobile City's redevelopment. So yeah, keep in mind, guys, keep in mind, Mobile City did get a redevelopment, a literal redevelopment of the city. An initiative that is said to have been abandoned in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald has been completed, and the town was transformed into a large indoor complex modeled after Lumio City. Mobile City stands as Greater Mobile Holdings' only successful project. Now, the chief executive of Greater Mobile Holdings is not identified, though Watson is known to have been a project leader in the company. So there already has been a redevelopment. Remember what the whole thing was in the Legends website? Like, if we go over to the Legends website, the one thing we literally saw, if we look up like Pokemon Legends, the one thing we literally will see is it's announced that, you know, it's a new adventure awaits in Lumio City, where an urban redevelopment plan is underway to shape the city into a place that belongs to both people and Pokemon. Redevelopment plan, right? That's the whole like premise of it. That's what it's all about. It's literally all about exactly that. It's a redevelopment plan. And that's what he's talking about. So if we go back to the actual picture here, you will see that it's modeled after Lumio City. So if Oras had a redevelopment plan that turned Mobile into the Mobile we know of today, and if we actually look up, you know, Mobile City Pokemon, like if we look up different versions of it, the thing we'll notice about the differences in it is that the original one, right, like this is the size of the original Mobile from like Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, right? Like it's not the smallest Pokemon city in the world, but, you know, in total, you don't really have a lot there either. Let's look at the actual pictures, right? Like if you open up these pictures here of the actual city, and take a look at it, right? So you've got like the gym, you've got the little gambling space, the Gamba, and you also have like the, you know, just 1 or 2, like 3 houses more or less to explore, right? And that's in the Mobile City itself. Then if you go, of course, to the kind of like western part of the city where, you know, you go to the other routes, then things will of course change. But the Mobile City itself is right here. Now, if you open up a picture here of the redeveloped version of it, you now have a sort of indoor area, right? So it literally says Innenhof, which I guess is in German. But this is like a map of what it looks like from above. And now you have like a bit more expansion, a little bit more to work with. And it doesn't end there. You also have the square in the middle, right? Which adds like a new element to the whole place. It doesn't end there. You also have like, you know, like just literally every version, every floor of it. So you got the inside version, the outside version, the second floor, which is up here, and of course the third floor. So I think what I want to say with this is, if you take into account how big Mobile City was and the fact that this whole game, like the fact that we know that Legends Z-A is going to be taking place mostly in Pokemon in Lumio City. Like, a new adventure awaits within Lumio City, where an urban redevelopment plan is underway to shape the city into a place. I think that they're going to try their hardest to make sure that they do a similar thing like they did in War Wild, but even bigger. Like, imagine that this is a whole game supposed to be set in this one city. So they're going to go way more hardcore on it. However, what we want to say here, the whole point of this post of his is to point out that the fact that mobile did this kind of proves that this game could be set in the future. This is something that was, taking place from old Ruby and Sapphire games, like they were planning on doing in that universe, but they never did it in that timeline, I guess. Either way, looking through the rest of this, he actually has a few more connections. We're going to have to zoom in to actually see each of them. So on the left side, Watson is the gym leader and founder of Mobile City, modeling the design of that of Lumio City, of KALOS, and basically, due to this, its layout has dramatically become a more indoor city. So, again, this is what I'm trying to say. This is when people argue, like, oh, it's not going to be cool, it's not going to be sick, like, who wants, like, a game all set in Lumios? Keep in mind, they can do a lot with this. Okay, they can do areas that are set inside of, like, little terrariums, similar to the terrarium from Indigo Disc. This is my biggest comparison is, I think the Indigo Disc terrarium was kind of to get us adjusted and kind of test out, well, what would it work like if we made a whole Pokemon location with a bunch of biomes and stuff, but it's all set in terrariums. I think in actually the city here, we're going to see multiple of those. We're going to see multiple, like, terrariums, which we can enter. And I think in the trailer, if we watch it, if we just go over to the trailer right here, we go right around here to the map. I think those circles could be the terrariums. Like, we don't see it in the actual trailer itself, but those could be terrariums, specifically locations we go to find variety of Pokemon, like different sorts of Pokemon can be found there. Again, it's just a theory. Then he continues on and says that if you look at the actual gym badge here from Mobile, it kind of resembles the design of the Quasar logo from, of course, this thing, and Quasar symbol equals maybe infinity energy, which he's trying to connect, over here to, I forget what her name is, from, oh geez, I literally forget the name. It's like the 7th gym badge you get? No. 8th? 6th gym badge. Doesn't matter. It's, what's her name, man? I literally forget her name. Like, I literally forget her bloody name. I cannot remember it. Either way, again, here he makes a connection between Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, including the trainers in the food court. Mobile City has a total population of 148, making it the largest city in Hoenn and the 5th largest in the Pokemon world, following Mesagosa, Lumios, Wyndon, and Nimbasa, and preceding Castelia. Then up here, it's the urban redevelopment plan. Again, failed, then the new mobile power plant slated to be expanded into a massive underground city. Again, they're expanded into a massive underground city. What would stop them from completing that plan, again, in Pokemon Legends Z-A, completing an underground city with, of course, the top part still existing, but a big underground. And again, we have the map of the Paris Catacombs up here in the top right. The Paris Catacombs, by the way, is a massive stretch of tunnels that are underneath Paris, which are insane. Okay, they are massive. They're huge. There's a lot of stuff going on in the what do you call it, in the Paris like catacombs. There's a lot of shit going on down there. So what are we going to do next? Well, we're going to look at the following thing here. So, New Mobile City, they talk about a subterranean city being extended by 69 floors to the underground. Now, this project died in development below Mobile City, and that's, of course, the one that they never completed. So, what would stop them from literally taking Lumio City and setting it on multiple floors? So another thing you see in the trailer, by the way, if you actually watch the trailer around here, I want to say around this point right here, you can notice there are multiple levels to it. It's not like this shit is just on one floor and that's it, and whoop-de-doo, guys, we only got one floor of shit, boys, let's go. No, it's actually on multiple floors. You got the bottom one, you got the actual river itself, and then, of course, if they do an underground, a city underneath the city, that would work as well. Like, what stops them from doing that? I think it would make total sense instead of trying to make a bunch of, open spaces out there like they did in Legends, in the main Legends game, because that shit would just not be worth it. At least that's the way I see it. But that's pretty much where we're going to leave that one on. I don't really know where else to go with that one. We're just going to leave that, that part of that right there. But either way, so what am I trying to say about this is, I like this theory. He's assuming that because New Mobile was new and it was kind of more futuristic-esque and based off of Lumios, which is more set in the present time, that possibly what we could be seeing here is a redevelopment of Lumios to look more futuristic and a game set in the future. But again, there's no guarantees. It's just a theory, okay? It's just a game theory. Either way, moving on, though, we have the next thing to talk about, which is, guys, you have a last chance now, okay? On Wednesday, the Venusaur raid is going to be going out of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. It's going to be finito, gone. I was about to say something weird, but it doesn't really matter. Point is, it's not going to be available anymore. It's going to be ending on Wednesday, March 6th, as far as I'm aware. And that's the last time you're going to have your chance to get a 7-star Venusaur, okay? Again, once it's gone, it's gone. It's not going to show up again, most likely. But after this one is done, I think the day after, on the 7th, there will be the Blastoise 7-star Terra raid. So make sure to get the Venusaur, and then make sure to get the Blastoise, and then finally the Charizard's going to come out as well. So make sure to get the Charizard as well. But that pretty much should summarize those. So make sure you get these events while you can, while they last, while they're available. So go for it right now. Again, like I said, it ends on Wednesday. After that, you don't have access to it anymore. However, let's move on to something a little less, legitimate. We have a 4chan post, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we have a 4chan post. You guys know how the shit goes already, okay? So, starting things off, this post literally just says Pokemon Legends Z-A information. Info, boys. And then it continues on and says the following, which is, no new regional forms in the game, as it takes place soon after Pokemon X and Y. There are new Megas and new evolutions, though. Actually, I'm gonna be real. For some reason, I actually think that sounds more realistic than any other suggestion I've seen so far. Like, that genuinely does sound pretty freaking solid. Like, to me, at least. I think it sounds like a pretty solid suggestion. However, it talks about new evolutions, and this is where shit gets a little bit, boy. So let's read through these. New evolutions. First up, Diggersby new Evo, normal ground. Now, here's the thing. If you guys have been watching my stream, Bim Bim, the Lord and Savior of our team, if he gets a new Evo, dude, that would be sick. Moving on, Go-Goat new Evo, grass type. Okay, so no changes there. Heliolisk new Evo, electric fire. That would be sick. I think a lot of people have wanted that for a long time, especially with Heliolisk and like its shiny being all like red and shit, like having it with a fire type would actually be pretty cool. Not gonna lie. Hawlucha new Evo, Fighting Flying, which nothing crazy there. Ledeba, new Evo, Bug Psychic, Ariados new Evo, Bug Poison, and then a new Evolution Dragon type. Now, I'm gonna be real with you. We've been talking about a new Evolution since 2013, okay? Since they released X and Y, the conversation's always been, okay, guys, they did the fairy type, now they have to do the dragon type too. But they haven't done it. We haven't seen a dragon type in that whole time. Is this the time to do it? Is it maybe time to be like, hey, we need to add that like Pokemon, like, you know, not even the counter, but just the dragon Eevee that everybody's asking for. Also, it's still weird to me that they haven't done that. Like, it is a little bit odd that they haven't added an Evolution into the game in recent time, given the popularity of Eevees, right? Like, Evolutions are one of the most popular things. Eevee is a secondary mascot in Pokemon at this point. They even did a whole thing for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee to push it as a mascot. So, again, I digress. It is a little bit odd. Moving on, though, to the next post, which is new Mega Evolutions. Mega Superior Grass Dragon, Mega Cinderace, Fire Electric, ooh, okay, and Mega Empoleon. So he's implying that the starter Pokemon we're going to get is going to be Snivy, Scorbunny, and Piplup, which I think, based on theories, is actually the most logical ones that don't kind of, break like certain patterns and don't go into like wrong places. And what I'm trying to say by that is, like, for example, they can't really use a Gen 6 or, Gen 7. They can't use a Gen 7 Pokemon, for example, because they already did Rowlet. So it would be weird if they used Litten, for example. And they could use a Gen 5 one because that hasn't been used yet. They can't really use a Gen 2 because they already used Cyndaquil. Point is, it just, these are like the logical ones as far as I'm aware. Like Gen 5, definitely fine. Gen 8, definitely fine. And again, Gen 4, definitely, I think, fine. Because maybe not, because we did have Gen 5 Oshawott. So technically, it would need to be a Gen 3 Pokemon to, like, make sure it doesn't, break the pattern. But again, I don't think patterns really matter in starters. Like, in my honest opinion, I don't even know if we're going to be getting any sort of new starters at all, or if we're just going to get the standard. Like, honestly, I think the standard is more likely. Like, hey, here is Fennekin, and the rest of them, like Froakie and shit, like have the regular Gen 6 starters and leave us alone. I think that's more likely. But he moves on and says, Mega Dragonite, Dragon Flying. Ooh, okay. So that's like a weird one, because how do you say, like, Dragonite tonight? Dragonite tonight? I don't even know. That just sounds really annoying to say. Mega Jinx. I actually made a video about this yesterday, where I talked about how Mega Jinx is, honestly, out of every Mega, even more so than Charizard, Mega Jinx, to me, feels like the most possible one. And the reason I say that is because back in 2020, and I talked about this yesterday in a video, But back in 2020, there actually was a whole thing about Mega Jinx. Like, there was a whole, like, whatchamacallit, a cry, a Pokemon cry. You guys know what Pokemon cries are. Just a sound that's made sometimes. But basically, there was a Pokemon cry found in the files for Pokemon Home, and that specific file had a reverb on it, and that same reverb is only used on Mega Evolution cries, which was really weird, but it was specifically Jinx's cry with that reverb on it. So people kind of speculated, and the data miner said, oh, looks like there was a scrapped Mega Jinx. Mega Jinx was supposed to happen at some point, but it never did. And then the next one is Mega FLYGON. Mega FLYGON is just a meme, okay? Mega FLYGON is a meme. Now, there is actually a story about Mega FLYGON. It was planned. Mega FLYGON was supposed to exist, and I have a whole video I'm going to talk about, like, my next Mega video is going to be specifically about FLYGON and the history of FLYGON Mega, because I'm going to give you the TLDR. It was supposed to happen. It actually was a planned Mega Evolution. Like, it was meant to exist. However, they never went through and made it, literally because they couldn't figure out a design for it. Like, they did not know what to do with it. Like, that was their premise for, like, we can't make it, bro, because we don't know what to do with it. That's literally the reason they didn't make it, which is really unfortunate. But this really sounds more like a wish list to me. Moving on, though, it says Mega Luxray. Again, wish listy. Mega Skarmory, Steel Flying. Okay, whatever. Mega Haxorus, Dragon Steel. Again, feels a bit wish listy. Mega Hydreigon, Dragon Dark. I mean, Hydreigon, listen, I'm gonna be real. That boy's gotten a lot of love lately, in my opinion. But either way, Xerneas and Yveltal have new alpha forms, which actually fits well with, I guess, the whole name of the game, which is Z-A, right? So I kind of think that fits well. And there's a legendary Pokemon called, Adrazil? Adrazil, okay, and it's the Chaos Pokemon, Zygarde's counterpart, and seemingly what the ultimate weapon was based on. Actually, that sounds legitimate. Like, not legitimate, but that sounds realistic. If you actually look at the logo of ZA, it does look like the ultimate weapon. Like, the whole A shape of it does look like the ultimate weapon for Pokemon. So in that regard, I you know what? I see it. I actually see it. As for the name, though, it feels a little bit hard to say, but then again, we do have Buzzhole and Naganadel and Poipole, and we do have some wacky-ass names in Pokemon, so anything's possible. Apparently, according to him, the release date will be February 7th, 2025, which I would love, okay? I'd love it if it was early into 2025, but I don't know, Chief. I don't know, man. The fact they haven't announced the release date yet, or even a release period, right? They didn't say, like, early 2025, late 2025, mid-2025, summer, winter, spring. I don't know, like, they haven't said shit, okay? They haven't actually told us anything, which is the part that gets me a little bit, you know, suspicious and worried that it might be getting pretty bad, boys. But nonetheless, your thoughts and opinions will be appreciated on this one. Again, it's just a rumor, and if you guys do find any of these, feel free to send them to me. My Discord is open. DMs can just be sent there. Also on Twitter, you can message me if you do have any theories, any suggestions on rumors that you found, anything you want to share, you can always just send it my way and I'll have a look at it. But we do have another rumor, though, before we continue, and this one is just really stupid, in my opinion. But basically, this guy says, yes, development starts this early, and apparently he has a logo for a game called Pokémon Legends Aleos, which, yeah, I don't know, Chief. But he says, yes, Masuda visited New York City recently. Yes, these are test logos to see which looks the best. Yes, I'm a long time, okay, whatever. Yes, it feels unreal to have actually gained the source. Yes, not many more details are allowed but could maintain anonymity. Yes, you know what is coming eventually. Yes, it's a shitty timing since PLZ just unveiled. And yes, no one will believe it for several years. Yes, I don't give a damn. All right, so first of all, the logos that he posted just straight up look fake. They look like AI images. Gonna start with that. Just they feel like AI images, so I already lose trust there. And the logo itself here, the actual one that he then shows, this one, cool and all, but I'm gonna be real, boss. Nah, bro, nah, Chief. This ain't it, Chief. This ain't it. This is just nah, not real. But we're going to leave that at that, okay? We're going to leave it there and move on to the next thing. And now we're going to... This is pretty much the tail end of the video. So we're going to now go in deep into some theories. But let's start with this one. First of all, we have a post from none else than our boy Soul Silver, who says, now, the most obvious reason that the A in ZA should be a new Pokemon is because the letters in X and Y logos are literally depictions of Xerneas and Yveltal. The shape of them, but also the features like the horns and the claws. So, of course, you know, if you actually look at the shape of the X logo, it does look like the actual horns of Xerneas. And if you look at, you know, kind of like the fingers, or I don't even know what you want to call them, the wings, the feathers of Yveltal, that is the shape you see, literal shape you see on the Y here. Even on the bottom here, where the tail kind of has like the hand shape to it, has the exact same thing in the logo. And then if you look at Zygarde, it does have that Z shape kind of in its body, which can kind of be seen with the Z here that we're looking at. So then what is the A, right? What does the A belong to? He says, therefore, the Z and its hexagons are representing Zygarde. So by this logic, the A in its shape and leaf-like design should be at least representing another Pokemon, like it does for the other 3 here. He says, I forgot to also point out the obvious. The color of the A could be giving us a hint to what the color of the Pokemon could be. Since Xerneas is blue, Yveltal is red, Zygarde is green and black, which is exactly what we see here. Green outlines, a black middle, which fits. So this Pokemon could be green and white, which, yeah, I guess so, because you do have like the little tree lines, kind of like, you know, the little roots coming out from the bottom of it, like kind of just seeping upwards. But again, it kind of fits well what we said earlier, like a Pokemon that's sort of the Pokemon like from the rumor post, a Pokemon that's one from Chaos, like one literally made out of Chaos. That's possibly what this could be. Like that's maybe what this new Pokemon could be. Again, I don't know. It's all theories. However, there's a really cool one. A very curious coincidence. Black and White remakes in the year of the Dragon ? And then Pokémon Legends Z-A in the year of the Snake. So here we're talking about Chinese New Year, and I know this is such a wild freaking, like, what does this have to do with anything? Well, Pokemon likes to kind of, like, time their stuff to fit with certain, like, you know, real-life events. And they've done this in the past. Like, this is actually something they have done in the past, where they matched up, you know, Chinese New Year's and the animal that represents that New Year with actual releases. Like, this is a weird thing, but it's a real thing, okay? And basically, this year is the year of the dragon this year, which is why it was another reason everybody was like, Black and White remakes, baby! Black and White remakes, let's go! That's why everybody's so excited, because everybody thought, okay, it makes total sense. It's the year of the dragon. Black and White remakes make sense, etc., etc. Well, guess what? Next year is the year of the snake. And what is Zygarde based on? It's a big old snake, boys. It's a big old snakey. Look at the shape of this Z-shaped snake, lads. So yes, next year is literally the year of the snake. And he says here, literally, Black and White remakes the year of the dragon. So, again, I still think there is a possibility we will get another Pokemon game announced this year. There is still a chance. The most likely scenario for it, May or June. Now, again, the realistic time frame, like, again, I'm looking at this from 2 perspectives. Realistic and ideal Hopium Copium, okay? If we're going to go the Hopium Copium way, then they can do the same thing they've done in the past. Now, in the past, they announced Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon in June. They announced Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee at the end of May. They announced Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire in June as well. Those are 3 different games that were announced between May and June. So they have done those kind of games in the past. And then during Pokemon Day, they would announce something else. So what I'm trying to say here is there is a chance that a different studio could be working on a Black and White type of game. Don't know if it's a remake or whatever, but it could be somebody working on it, and maybe they're going to reveal that later down the line, because remakes don't necessarily need as much time to simmer and cook as much as a brand new series game, like, you know, Legends Z-A in this case. And this is, again, where this whole, you know, Year of the Dragon this year makes sense. Also, keep in mind, what else is coming out this year? Usually, Pokemon does have a lot of stuff slated within a single year release. This year, there's not really much, man. Like, we have that Pokemon TCG Pocket game. Unless they plan on that Pocket game being, like, you know, making, like, $1 billion in a year, unless they're expecting that to happen, I'm gonna be real, bro. They don't really have much for this year. And from a business perspective, that's not good, okay? Pokemon is a bestseller. Pokemon sells millions every single year, dude. Every release is millions of sales. BDSP, 15 million. Legends Arceus, 15 million. Freaking Skull and Violet, 25 million. My point is, Pokemon make the money, make it a lot of money. And because of that, it would be so stupid of them to not release another game this year that's just been outsourced. Same way they did with Ilka. I don't think Ilka's working on anything else, though, because Ilka's just kind of done for. I think they just kind of decided, you know what, these guys, nah, bro, nah, let's find somebody else, which highly is possible. And again, the one thing I keep hearing from everybody in the background, like everybody secretly in little Discord servers and stuff, everybody keeps talking about a Black and White game they've heard about. Everybody keeps talking about their sources. There are 3 different legitimate sources, and this is the same thing that Soul can confirm for you. A lot of people confirm for you, is that there has been talks about a Black and White game in the background, but nobody knows what the deal is with it. Like, nobody understands what what's going on, like what's happening. And I wonder if possibly, like I said, they have announced remakes and stuff in the past during May and June. Maybe it's time for that again. Now, he makes another tweet at the, I think he replies to a few tweets down here. And of course, the original tweet here was from Kuro Blitz, who says that, you know, who kind of was making the connection between the Chinese New Year being with the, you know, with the snake next year, and this year being with the dragon, and he just made those connections. Sure, I guess Gen 10 releases on 2026. The box Legends will be two horses. That would be sick if I'm gonna be real. That would actually be pretty cool. Like horse legendaries, we already had like Glastrier and shit, and Spectrier, but I don't know, man. I think they could do some cool shit, bro. They can do some cool shit. Either way. This is the original post we looked at a second ago. And then, of course, there is this right here. Now, this post is kind of goofy, but it's a fusion between Reshiram and Xerneas and Yveltal and Zekrom. And ayo, this looks hilarious, man. Shout out to Ron Raphael for drawing this, by the way. Cool concept. But he was just joking about this. But then there was somebody else who made a post, which was Riddler Koo. Now, Riddler Koo is a legitimate leaker. However, recently he has been a little bit like... I mean, he has just not provided a lot of, like, actual stuff, but he also retweeted this and made a post saying, the author is humorous, and it was, of course, just a joke about the Reshiram thing, because, I don't know, he has, like, something against Reshiram, I've noticed, but he hasn't really posted anything in recent time. The only thing he posted was the code name of specifically Legends Z-A, and as far as I'm aware, as far as I've heard, a lot of leakers like him and like others, they all just got information super late about Legends Z-A. Like, a lot of them were kind of caught off guard with it. And I think the reason for that is because this game was kept under wraps. Like, this shit was kept under wraps. However, that other project, that other thing that everybody keeps talking about in the background is Black and White. That's the one thing everybody has mentioned, at least hearing about. Pioro has heard of it. Koo seems to have heard of it too. And there are other sources too who have heard of a Black and White remake. But where is it? Well, most logical time frame, and again, this is Hopium, dude. I'm gonna put the Gengar Cope on the screen here, okay? Like, this is just pure Hopium right now. I have a suspicion that we could be seeing it in May or June. The most realistic way of looking at it, we won't get news until freaking August. So I'm gonna have to sit here and talk about, like, I don't know, the shape of Zygarde's eyebrows, and I don't even know if it has any. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun year, okay? It's gonna be a fun year. However, we're gonna finish it off with this push by Hop on Gardic Phone. This is the last thing I wanted to show, and this is a concept for what our characters could look like if we were setting it in, like, you know, 1800s France. I freaking love these. Serena and Callum look freaking sick in these. Of course, this is if the game is set in the past. No guarantees it is. Again, no guarantees. There's a high chance this shit won't be set in the past. It'll be set in the future. But if it's set in the past, I think something like this would actually make sense in terms of the design. However, it is Pokemon, and they can really do whatever they want. So I'm going to leave it at that, lads. Either way, guys, thank you all for watching today. I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Thank you all for being here. And I'll see you whenever I decide to make another one of these, which is probably going to be tomorrow. So I'll see you then. And also, guys, I'll be live streaming right after this video goes out. So I'll see you there. So, yeah, bye. Bye. Have a great day. Bye. Bye.